as HR and an HR professional who drives business outcomes. Most organizations have plenty of it first. Almost none have enough of the second. The question is which one are you, and more importantly, which one do you want to become? Welcome. Today we are going to deep on what it actually means to operate as a strategic HR business partner. Not in theory, not in textbook, but in the real world with real stakeholders in organization that do not always make it easy. By the end of this video, you will have a clear picture of what strategic HR looks like in practice. So, what is strategic actually means? Let us start by dismantling the myth. Strategic HR is not only about using bigger words in the meetings. It is not having a seat at the table of its own sake. Strategic HR means you understand the business well enough to anticipate people related risks before they become problems, and you have the data and the relationships to act on them. A transactional HR professional waits for a vacancy and fills it. A strategic HR professional looks at the business plan, identify where the skill gaps will emerge in 12 months and start building the pipeline now. A transactional HR professional runs the performance review process. A strategic HR professional uses performance data to identify flight risks, succession gaps, and high potential who are underutilized before they resign. The difference is orientation. Transactional HR faces inward towards HR processes. Strategic HR faces outward toward business outcomes. Audit your last 3 months of work. Write down how much time you spent on processes versus business conversations. The ratio will tell you everything. Building the business case. The second thing is that separates the strategic HR professionals is their ability to speak in number of business actually cares about. Your CFO does not care about your engagement score. They care about the 5-point drop in engagement in the sales function correlates with 12% increase in voluntary turnover, and that each sales representative who leaves costs roughly 150% of their salary to replace. When you walk in with the conversation, you are not talking about HR. You are talking about a revenge problem with a people solution. This is strategy, and it changes the room. Suddenly, you are not defending an HR budget. You are presenting a budget business investment. This requires you to connect people data to business data and speak the language of the function you are partnering with. Finance speaks in costs and risk, sales speaks in pipeline and conversion, operations speaks in output and efficiency. Learn their knowledge and language. It is the single fastest way to gain credibility as a strategic partner. Pick one business metric your organization tracks and spend 30 minutes this week finding a data connection to the people metric you own. Relationship architecture. The third component of strategic HR is one most people outlook entirely, a relationship architecture. Being strategic is not about what you know, it is about who trusts you enough to tell you what is really going on. The most strategic HR professionals have informal conversations with leaders that never appear in any meeting. They hear about the acquisition because it is announced. They know which director is struggling because it becomes a performance issue. They understand the board's concern before their concerns reach the HR agenda. This level of access does not happen because you are good at your job. It happens because you have invested in relationships with intention. You have made yourself genuinely useful, not just in HR terms but in business terms. Tell me in the comments what one thing you are going to do this week and move from transactional to strategic. Commit to it publicly because it works. Subscribe if you want more of this because next week we are converting the HR metrics that makes CFOs actually pay attention. See you there. Thank you.